Hey everybody, Matt Cribbs here, and welcome to another Wednesday morning drive. How you doing? I'm doing great. Still pushing for work to get a big release of a bunch of sites out this Thursday, so only a couple days left. We are in the home stretch. Everything is looking good, so that's good news. But, you know, still a lot of just details to cover and work to do, so yeah, busy. But that's a good thing. That's, you know, too much work is a good problem to have. It's better than not enough to do, I guess. But going on with there, had a crazy weekend with M. Cribbs 2.0's birthday. He had a bunch of friends over, and then had some more friends over for a sleepover. So two groups of friends, because we moved recently, and so he's got his friends from the new town and his friends from the old town, and whatever. They had a good time. And we ended up with Nerf darts all over our house. Like, I'm still picking them out of my hair, I think, but they are everywhere. And oh, hello, bus. Are you gonna stop for that guy? Yes, you're gonna stop for that guy, which means I can turn in front of you. Cool. So, yeah, party there, and then we had some family over, and then more people slept over. So it's been like 5 days of just constant guests and parties and entertainment, and wow, it's exhausting. It takes a lot out of you. So that's yeah, recovering from that still, I think. But it's, you know, all that, it's all good. You know, this is why we work hard. This is why we do what we do, so that we can enjoy the times with our family and friends. So all good. Awesome. Other big news is, and if you watch my Lineage series, you've heard me mention this. I've committed to upgrading my computer. My current computer is a 2011, I think, iMac. No, it can't be that old. It's an old iMac. I'm primarily a Mac user for work and programming, because Mac OS is the best Unix or Unix-like distribution out there, in my opinion. It's a good one, at least. And I have a lot of tools I use on that, so that's what I use primarily. But for gaming, not everything I want to play is on it. So I'm actually putting together a Hackintosh style machine. There are police cars all over the road up here, and it looks like there are police cars blocking the way I need to turn. So this is going to be awesome. But we'll see what happens. So yeah, working on that. Oh, it's road closed going the way I don't want to go. So why did we, if we can only left turn, why did they block off the left turn lane? This is, I don't know what town we're in. This is thinking at its finest, right? Okay, so here I'm sitting in a 2-lane road. There's a lane I'm in now, and there's a lane over there that is a left turn lane. Going straight, the road is closed. I cannot go straight. So what these brilliant minds have done is they've put cones along the left turn lane and have us all in the straight only lane. But I can only turn left. So why wouldn't you block off the go straight lane and keep the left turn lane open? It's just not very bright. I don't know what they're thinking. So, you know, hey, it is what it is. Anyway, so I'm turning left behind a bunch of traffic because no one can go straight, and normally most people go straight that way. Where was I? So other things that are coming up, yeah, big news, Lineage 2 series, talk about new machine, use a Mac. I do that. Mine's old, and Mac hardware is super expensive, and the Hackintosh community has gotten much more advanced. I first looked at it a while ago, and it was like, yeah, well, if you use this exact thing, and maybe it'll work, but there's gonna be a lot of problems. But I took a look again, and it's like, yeah, use all these things, we got all this different hardware, motherboards, blah, 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 they all work, do whatever you want. Not quite that easy, but it's looking pretty mature. So I'm diving into that community, and I'm getting the parts. I've ordered all the parts, and the first one came last night. It's the case. I got a full tower case, a full tower case. And I've always used mid towers, and there's quite a bit of difference. This thing is taller than McRib's 2.1. This guy is, this thing's huge. So I'm gonna have space for days. I have all the space I need. It's gonna be awesome. I'm documenting all the parts I'm doing. I'm gonna document the process of building it. And then once I don't think it's quite a series, because really, well, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm documenting, like, I opened the case last night. I didn't record it. I haven't done anything yet as far as, you know, putting stuff on camera, but I have everything documented, and I figure once things come in, once things come in, I'll record, I'll put things together, I'll do the setup and stuff, and I'll record what I can, and, you know, put them together in a mini series, if you will. I only think it'll be like 1 or 2 episodes, maybe 3, but just, you know, what I did to put the new machine together and get it working. So that'll be cool. It's gonna be, I'm just buying this out of my, you know, my spare spending cash, the pieces. So I'm like not going out, I'm not doing things, I'm not spending money, and then as I get a part enough saved up for the next component, I'm buying that one. So it's gonna be a while before that comes out, and we're gonna be talking about this for a while. So don't like hold your breath, but you know, all that's coming, and it'll be cool. It'll be awesome, and I'll get great new frame rates and stuff. So that'll be awesome. But yeah, so speaking of spending money, one of the things that, on top of all of this that's going on, TD Bank, which is where I do some of my banking. I have multiple accounts for various things, but TD Bank decided to, well, how I found out is I went to buy lunch and my card was declined. And I'm like, what? Because I know I had money in my account. So, you know, put in a request, like a support thing with TD Bank, and they're like, yeah, we turned off your card because Visa, it's a debit card, so they're, you know, in the Visa system. Why are you coming out on a stoplight, lady? But Visa had, I forget how it was, very nebulously phrased, indications that there may have been a security compromise involving your card, or something very, very, like wishy about, like, it was very non-specific what they said. And that annoyed me. And this is the second time that this particular bank has done something that did not sit right with me. So, you know, basically they're worried about fraud. They're worried about credit card theft, identity theft. They're worried about someone getting my information and then spending my money. And that's a good thing to worry about, because that happens. People get people's cards, they steal them from machines on, you know, gas pumps. They have all sorts of, look it up, there's all sorts of techniques they use. Sometimes it's as simple as a waiter grabbing your card, wiping it, writing it down, or swiping it twice. But they get your card information, and then they go off and they spend your money. And it's bad enough with a credit card, because then they have to roll back the fraudulent transactions, they have to take them out, and it goes against your credit card, and that's annoying, and the banks lose money, and blah, blah, blah. But it's even worse with a debit card, because when they spend your money, that money's gone from your account, and it takes a while for the investigation to happen, and for you to get your money back. So until they do that, you don't have your money, and that could be money you need to pay your bills. So yes, it's a good thing what they're doing to try and prevent this from happening, to prevent the fraud, to protect my money. But the way they do it is, you know, there's a spectrum, right? If something bad could happen, there are things you can do. We're in shaky mode right now because I'm at a light and my car is apparently that right temperature where it vibrates the camera. But when something bad could happen to you, there are many things you could do to protect yourself from that bad thing happening. On one end, there is do nothing and just hope it doesn't happen. That's the most risky side. On the complete other end is you could, take extreme measures to ensure that it never, ever happens to you. And if you're talking about, things like government secrets and, the hardware for the space shuttle or stuff, those are this, whatever the next space mission is, not the shuttle. But those are cases where extreme measures may be taken. If you're talking about a low balance checking account, where, the amount of damage that could be done is limited and all of that, perhaps, you should be somewhere in the middle on those extremes. And everyone's accounts that this bank holds are different. So I'm sure everyone has a different tolerance for how much risk they are willing to take. Because the more you try to protect against something happening, the more inconvenient it is. So, like, if you definitely never want something to be stolen, put it in a safety deposit box inside the vault of a bank, inside, protect that. But then if you ever want to get it, it's going to be hard to get because you're going to have to go through all these layers of security. So you have to balance the risk of something bad happening versus the ease of actually using that thing or being able to get the intended use out of whatever it is. So for bank, you have to balance, when do I cancel a credit card because it might be fraud, something bad might be happening to it, versus when can this person actually use their money? And for TD Bank, and I've banked with several different banks that, I've been pretty happy with the way they do it. I've had my card number stolen. It's people went on a spending spree in Queens and they, looked at it, said, nope, these are all there, and, got my money back very quickly. But TD Bank in particular seems to be more on the conservative side. If there is any risk at all that something might happen, they cancel the card. This is like the second time they've done it. And the first time, I went to get a haircut at a place I don't normally get a haircut. In the same town I live in, at the same time I normally do, just a different store. And they determined that was an indication my card had been stolen, and so canceled the card. So I had to go get a new one. I don't think that was worth it. I don't think that was the right decision to make. One transaction out of a normal pattern is not in the amount of risk I am willing to take is not the threshold that calls for completely canceling a card. And so that was strike one. And then what happened this time is, this Visa had somehow determined that there may have been a compromise of something. I don't actually know. But as a result, they canceled my card. And to make it worse, they canceled it without notifying me. And that right there, I think, is the major flaw with the way they do it. So, yeah, I'm upset with the bank right now. I still have to go, and they won't send me a new one because they're like, we're convenient. You can just go into any bank and go get a new card. And I'm like, great, except I'm busy and I can't go to a friggin' bank because there's not one close to me that I can get to and just sit around and wait for you to print me a new card. Like, send me one. But for them, that's not an option. So, duh. But how I would have liked to see this play out is acknowledging the fact that they need to protect all of their customers and acknowledging the fact that everyone has a different threshold for risk they're willing to take. I want to get a notice that says, hey, this had happened. This event happened. Visa found something, and I want the details. I want to know, a server that was connected to the same network as the one that stores your information was compromised. And we believe it was a risk because, they could have then taken that server and accessed the one with your information and taken your information. But we don't have any indication that it did happen. It's just a possibility. say, I don't know that that's what happened, but that's a hypothetical scenario. If that's what happened, I would say, okay, I'm willing to take that risk. Leave my card open. And I would expect them to leave my card open because that is my wishes. And if I lose my money, you know, then hey, that should be on me. But if they, you know, email or notify me and say, hey, we noticed that the, you know, the server we store your information on was compromised and files were downloaded, that's an entirely different risk. And then I would say, shut my card down ASAP and tell me about it afterwards. So yeah, that's where it stands. It's a difficult problem because you know, timeliness is important. If a breach occurs, you need to respond quickly, but you also need to respond with appropriate levels of defense. And I think, well, we could argue for days what is the appropriate level of defense, but clearly it's different for everyone, you know, and it would be different for me. If it was my primary account where I store, you know, a bunch of the money I'm going to put my rent in or my mortgage in, be more safe. If it's a second account that I just keep spending cash in and there's never more than a couple $100 in it, whatever. So, like, we need that feedback, and really that's where the important thing broke down in this case, is that the way I found out was not a notice, not a message in the app that I carry on my phone, so they should have the technology to notify me, not an email in my inbox that they have my email address, so they should be able to notify me, not a text message and they have my phone number. Like, it's not like they couldn't have told me, it's that they didn't tell me. And that takes it from, oh, you're just being too safe, fine, annoying, I'll deal with it, to, come on guys, what are you doing? Get your act together. So anyway, that's where we stand. That was what happened to me. That it's a discussion that we need to keep having, and we need to figure out what is that right balance. And you need to think about it for yourself. What is that right balance between convenience and security with your data that you're willing to live with? So anyway, hope you have a good day. Hope you have a good week. I'll see you next week. Keep playing. New Lineage 2 should be coming out this weekend. Aim for Fridays, sometimes a little later. We'll see what happens. Friday or Saturday, it'll come out. And I'm going to be getting back on once this release goes out the door and I can have time to breathe again. Ryotcraft 1.9 modded Minecraft. So look forward to those. Thanks. Later. Bye.